my name is Andrea. If you don't know me, you should subscribe, but today I'm going to be telling you guys every single book I read in 2022. I know a lot of people were doing their this is what I read in 2022, or these are my best books, these are my worst books of 2022 in December, but my thought process is I had to wait until the year was completely over before I can make any. So enjoy the content of my 2022 reads because they are still coming. I still have to do my best books and my worst books, so that's just coming in the future. But today, like I said, I'm gonna go through every book I read in 2022. Not gonna tell you what every single one is about because there is 107, but we're just gonna reflect, look back at them, and I don't know, maybe say a little bit about each one. I don't remember all my ratings, but if I do remember some, I'll let you know. First book I read this year was Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto. I enjoyed that book. I didn't continue the series, but it was a great little murder thriller kind of book. I then read Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, which was okay, and not my favorite fantasy, but it's, you know, it's okay. This Will Be Funny Someday by Katie Henry, a hit. A 5-star, a bop. Like, I love that book so much. Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. Hated that book. Do not recommend. Did not enjoy. Blade of Secrets by Trisha Levenseller. I love Trisha. All of her books are so incredibly good, so that was a really good book. Instructions for Dancing by NICOLE Yoon. No comment. That one kind of disappointed me a little bit. All My Rage by Saboteur. Fantastic book. Everyone and their mother should read it. In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle. It was pretty mid. Lady Midnight by Cassie Clare. I was starting my reread of The Dark Artifices. I read The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood twice, like in a row, right after each other, because I loved it so much. Then I read Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness to finish TDA reread. I then read Chain of Gold to prepare myself to read Chain of Iron. Actually, no. I think I just reread those because Chain of Iron came out the year before because Chain of Thorns was supposed to come out last November and it didn't. So I just reread because I missed them, I guess. Reread Red Rising. That's just a yearly reread for me at this point. I'm literally going to reread it in January. Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. Not a good book. House of Sky and Breath by Crescent City. House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. What am I saying? Great book. The ending. I screamed. People died. It was insane. Okay. Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert I read. I was kind of getting into my romance era, and I do think that was the start. And then I read a lot more romance throughout the year. Then I read Golden Sun, which was also a reread for Red Rising. Read All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I read a lot of Colleen Hoover. Please don't attack me. They weren't good. I guess I love to torture myself, but I did read like almost her entire collection of books. Again, just because they're fast and easy and they were all in script, but they weren't really enjoyable and I wouldn't read them again. Then I read The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. So pretentious, but still so good at the same time. I don't know. I reread Morning Star by Pierce Brown. I read The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armez. Let's Call It a Doomsday by Katie Henry, my girl Katie. Love all of her books. This Woven Kingdom by Taheda Mafi, which I really loved. I thought it was a great beginning of a new fantasy. I don't think anyone talks about it, and I don't know why, because I thought it was good. I read the second book to From Blood and Ash, which is A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout, and that book is trash. It made me DNF the whole series. I just didn't like it. I read Gallant by V.E. Schwab, which is a very not talked about V.E. Schwab book, and I think there's a reason for that. It's just underwhelming. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. Just not good. Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. That was a fantasy. It's the first in a new fantasy. I love that. You Truly Assumed by Layla Sabrine. That one was pretty good. I reread The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. Iron Gold by Pierce Brown I read for the first time, and that was a time to be alive. That was a great period. Like, the book seriously terrified me and was, you know, kind of torturous, but it was fun. I read The City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. I forgot that I barely got into that trilogy, the David Bat trilogy. I really loved that. It Happened One Summer. Again, me and my romance era, definitely think that is a book that made me think maybe I could be a romance girly because I really enjoyed It Happened One Summer. Escaping from Houdini, the third book in Stalking Jack the Ripper series. I read The Kingdom of Copper, the David Bad trilogy, book 2. I read Hook, Line, and Sinker, book 2 to It Happened One Summer. I was just reading series up and down. Confess by Colleen Hoover, literally a 1-star book. Empire of Gold, third book in the David Bad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. I reread Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken, book 2 in The Darkest Minds. Like, I was working through my series, okay? I read November 9 by Colleen Hoover, and I really think that's a bad book. I know I've said that for a lot of hers, but that one was really bad. Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. On the flip side, I loved that book, so they're not all bad. But when they're bad, they're bad. When they're good, I like them. Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali. Oh, one of my new favorite romances. That was so good. Court of Thorns and Roses. That was a reread. I read Capturing the Devil, the final book in Stalking Jack the Ripper, so I finished up that series. That was exciting. I read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang, and I want to continue that series because that was good. The Court of Mist and Fury reread. People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Didn't like that as much as other people. I read A Court of Wings and Ruin, which was a reread. All of Us Villains by Amanda Foody. That was a good fantasy that I think more people should read because it was really good. I reread A Court of Frost and Starlight. I read The Amber Spyglass by Philip Pullman. Not gonna get into Philip Pullman. I didn't really enjoy his Dark Materials series. Reread A Court of Silver Flames. I read Fixer Up by Tessa Bailey. Absolutely did not like that book. I read Not Here to Be Liked by Michelle Quach. Such a good, cute, young adult contemporary. I read Love Boat Taipei by Abigail Hing Wen, which was surprisingly really, really good. Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I think that one was just kind of meh for me. I read Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. A standout, a lovely, insanely good murderous female rage book. This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar. Didn't enjoy the book as much as I was hoping to, and as much as other people did. I read The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. Carvel by Stephanie Garber. After by Anna Todd. Verity, After We Collided. Light Lark, All of Our Demise. I'm speeding it up because I feel like I'm just talking too slow. All of Our Demise was actually a sequel to All of Us Villains, and I love that duology. It ended just perfect. Then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, one of my, again, new favorite YA, like, romance contemporaries. It's really good. Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, Without Merit by Colleen Hoover, In the Afterlife by Alexandra Bracken, which was a reread. Also, Without Merit was trash. I read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy, which was, again, a standout as well. It was pretty good. I think it was the only biography I've read this year. I read Better Than the Prom, which was a novella by Lynn Painter. Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joy Agofni. The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. The Temporary Rooming by Sarah Adams. Kingdom of the Cursed, book 2 in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I read Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which I didn't like. Val Lady Fortune by Chloe Gong. Set Fire to the Gods by Sarah Rosh. Take a Hint, Danny Brown, book 2 in the Brown Sisters by Talia Hibbert. I like that one more than Get a Life, Chloe Brown. Then I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Love from Mecca to Medina by S.K. Ali, the sequel to Love from A to Z. I reread Throne of Glass. I read Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto, which I loved. The Midnight Girls by Alicia Jasinska. Strike the Zither by Joan Hay. Oh, stand out. Lovely. One of my favorite books ever now. 8th Grade Bites by Heather Brewer. Tenders of Flesh by Augustina Basterica. It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Normal People by Sally Rooney. If We Were Villains by ML Rio. 8 Nights of Flirting by Hannah Reynolds. The Poppy War by Arv Kwong. The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. The Bane Chronicles by Cassie Clare. So This Is Love by Tracy Andreen. You've Reached Sam, I reread by Dustin Tao. The Davenports by Christo Marquise. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. Crown of Midnight by Sarah J Maas. And Air of Fire by Sarah J Maas. And those were rereads. That was my every book I read in 2022. I don't really know what the purpose of this video was, but I wanted to just have a well-rounded wrap-up of every single book I read. So there it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these. If you want to check out my social media, it is linked down below. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!